All right, this is for user Skin 6 minutes ago on relationship advice. Should you consult the person you're seeing before you start seeing others? I've been seeing and having sex with this guy for almost 2 months now, going on almost 2 dates a week and having a hard time grasping where he's at with me. When we first met, he said he can't offer anything serious because he plans to leave the country, but in other conversations, he said he can't do hookups or friends with benefits. I'm also almost sure he's not seeing other girls. So I've read the whole thing, but I'm just reading it again for context. So when we first met, he said he can't offer anything serious because he plans to leave the country, but in other conversations, he said he can't do hookups or friends with benefits. Look, I think he wants the relationship on his terms, which is not uncommon and it's not a bad thing. The question is, do you want to be in a relationship in which it seems at this point he's getting more of a say? And how do you want to go about ostensibly evening the playing field, right? So I'm catching feelings, and it doesn't seem like the feelings are mutual. So it was suggested that I go out on dates but have no sex with other guys to loosen his grip on me. Is this something I should consult the guy I'm seeing first, or is it a given because he hasn't said anything? We're not exclusive, so I'm fine to do whatever. Here's the thing. If you do that, you will be lying to him, all right? Now, let me explain. There are lies of commission and lies of omission. A lie of commission is when I ask you a question and you lie to me. A lie of omission is when you don't ask the question, but I just never tell you what I've done. So if you do that, and look, I've done that before, but I knew that it was going to end. So I suppose it was a self-defense and protection mechanism so that when she left, I would have other options. Now, having said that, the problem is that you have to then, after that happens, you develop a level of comfort or habituation to doing things for yourself and not being entirely honest with your partner. And I had to unlearn that to get into the relationship that I'm in now. And I actually made a decision before I got into the relationship that I was in now that I wasn't going to do that anymore, because the next relationship I wanted was a keeper, right? I'm not experienced with dating relationships, only had one, and I don't know what the best approach is. My worry is that before my ex and I dated, nothing was said and we weren't exclusive, so I was also seeing another guy. My ex knew that before we started dating, and a year or two into our relationship, when he cheated on me, he justified it as trying to get even, and I don't want that happening again because it was pretty hurtful. Look, I could see how it was pretty hurtful, definitely. I think if you're going to... This decision is really up to you, but you've got to remember that you are going to have to deal with the consequences of this decision. Now, so let's take a couple of hypotheticals. Hypo 1, you tell him, and he reacts badly and you lose him. Can you deal with that? You've been as honest as you can. You've been a good person. Can you deal with negative repercussions like that? Because it seems to me to be the case that you've got other options. They're just not there right now. And it means that you're going to lose one guy, be by yourself for a time, go on a few dates, and the chances of getting another guy with a similar relationship dynamic or a better one in your mind right now are low. And look, you're going to have to meet some frogs before you get a prince. That's just the truth. So maybe not. Maybe you just get fuck off lucky in the next Tinder or Bumble date you go on, but stats say otherwise. So the question is, if you tell him, are you okay with being rejected? The second thing is, you tell him and he's okay with it, and then, because he accepts the fact that he's not offering you what you want, so you got to look for it other places. The problem that happens, though, when you do that is that a person lies to themselves in a sense in thinking they can handle two people. But then when one of them leaves, so he's going to leave, the question is the person that you're going to start seeing or dating or having sex with, if you choose to, okay with the fact that you're seeing him too? Are you being held back from having a fully and proper meaningful relationship because of your attachment to this guy who won't fully commit to you? That's another question to think about. Hypothetical 3, you don't tell him, and you don't tell him and you keep it to yourself, but then he finds out somehow because you two are, sitting on the couch together or in bed together, and then you get a text message and he looks at your phone and it's from some guy being like, "Hey babe, what's up?" And then you're like, "Fucking what?" Then you're in trouble, right? And there's ways to get around that, but those ways are not entirely honest. If you want to do it, it's up to you. But Hypo 3, you don't tell him and he finds out anyway. That's bad. It's bad for him because it hurts him. It's bad for you because he will find out the wrong way and you have done him and yourself a disservice. Lying is never a service to the liar, right? You have to remember that the reason I don't lie is because it is a sin against oneself. It is, what happens is when we lie, it blurs the lens through which we see the universe. And we start to believe our own lies. We start to believe that we can have two men at once or two women at once, when the truth is, that's not how we were made. Now, some people can do it. Some people can do it. It's very difficult, but some people can do it. I'm not going to lie and say they can't. The question is, are you one of those people? Look, there's only one way to find out, but you run the risk of hurting him and hurting yourself and hurting the other person. If you're willing to take that risk to find that out, that's up to you. Hypothetical 4, you don't tell him and he never finds out. I would say if you're having sex with him and someone else, use condoms, because you don't want to be that girl that gives an STI to someone and then you got to have that text conversation. You don't want to be that girl. But if you, like, I've had that with people before. I've had open relationships. I've had open relationships that they thought were closed, and that I thought were closed. But because I knew the relationship was going to end anyway, I was like, no, well, what are you going to do? The question is what you want. Here's one piece of advice that I will give you. You need to have a look at yourself and really be honest and find out or decide what you want out of a relationship. What do you want out of a relationship? Is it affection? Is it a sense of long-termness? Is it a particular qualities in a guy? You need to decide what you want and what you don't want. That's very important. Decide what you don't want and write it down. Write a list, 100% write a list, because that will make sure, sorry about my camera, by the way, it's blurring sometimes. That will make sure that when you get into a relationship that you're feeling uncomfortable or strange in, you can go back to that list and think, oh yeah, I told myself this is what I wanted and this guy's not giving it to me. So now I can walk away guilt-free. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be a lot less guilt and a lot less shame and a lot less questioning your position and why you feel that way, because you've already written it down. You need to decide what you want in a relationship, and then you ask the question. And look, that could take some time. It could take a couple of months. It could take years. But what it means is that if you write it down, you can then compare the man that you're talking about to that list and any other future men to that list. And so I think the best way to do it, honesty is normally the best option, but it is hard because it requires hard conversations. But having said that, if you're in a relationship with someone with whom you can't have hard conversations with, you probably either need to have them to see if they can happen or get out of the relationship, because I don't want to be in a relationship with someone I can't have hard conversations with. Me and my girlfriend have hard conversations, really, really hard conversations about death, about sex, about feelings, about anything, right? And so you have to remember that, and I've said this before, relationships turn into legal contracts at some point. Now, here's what happens. If you get in a relationship and you make a habit of being in relationships with people that you can't be honest with, when you get into a relationship with someone you want to be honest with, you won't have built the habits of doing that. Okay? So I would encourage you to be honest, but I'm not telling you need to be. It's up to you. You are the person in this situation. You are the one that knows the full context. Maybe not. But you know a lot more than me and a lot more than anyone on Reddit, and I hope you know your heart more than he knows your heart. I think you do. So yeah, I think you are able to, you've articulated yourself very well. You've shown an ability to be able to self-analyze, which is not as common as you think. And I think that you can get through this situation. It's either going to be hard or easy, and it's either going to be right or wrong. But at the end of the day, you will be okay. Okay? So, and decisions don't have to be made right away. Sit down, have a think about it, chat with people that you love and that you trust, that have A, wisdom, and B, your best interests at heart, and that you know they have your best interests at heart, not just that they say it. Write things down. And I think that will assist you in coming to the best decision. Good luck.